if things do not turn around and turn around in a big way in the next 5 months, I am not going to continue running my own authority next year. But I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to turn around to the point where I would want to continue. I mean, what was the NFL Super Bowl a couple years back? I don't watch football, but I know, like, what's the team? Wasn't it the New England Patriots that came back from like a 23-point deficit in like the fourth quarter or something like that? I need to do one of those. Okay, it needs to be like one of those comebacks. I mean, I'm talking like the Germans are on the gates of Moscow in 1941, and Stalin just gives them the old not a step back and throws them all the way back to Berlin. Okay, that's the kind of comeback I need right now, because it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good at all. Okay, we need to throw the the bad Germans all the way back to Berlin right now. Okay, it's a long way to Berlin, okay? And it ain't looking good. Okay, so we're on the back foot right now, and I don't see a Stalingrad and just encircling the Fifth Army. I have a degree in history. That's how I know all this. But okay, we're at Stalingrad right now. We're at Moscow right now, and I need to throw the Germans all the way back to Berlin. Okay, and allies haven't landed yet. Okay, this is bad right now. Things are looking pretty rough right now. But I don't know. I guess I'm out of analogies. This needs to turn around, and it needs to turn around in a massive, massive way, or I will not be continuing with my authority into next year. And if you're watching this, I would stay away. Welcome back to Trucking the Seven Seas. This is episode number 99, and in this episode, we're going to go over week 22 of running my own authority. For this episode, we end up having a pretty good week after taking one long load and then a medium load on the East Coast. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I started this channel in order to show exactly what truck drivers make. We started as a company driver working for night transportation, moved on to a lease operator working for night transportation, then an owner operator working for Landstar, and now we are an owner operator running our own authority. I show all the loads I take, what the revenue is, what the expenses are, and what my net cash flow is, and I compile all this information that I put into a spreadsheet that I share with you at the end of every video. So if this is a topic that interests you, follow the channel. But with all that said, a couple of announcements before we begin. Had a viewer request I do a spreadsheet review, basically showing him a few things on the spreadsheet and how it works. So I'll be posting a video probably next week just breaking down how I update my spreadsheet and basically how all that works. So that's coming in the next couple of weeks. I'll go ahead and post that video, so just be on the lookout for that. Also, I'll start posting more of the DAT load board reviews again. After the last couple of weeks, I just had no appetite for doing so. So I'll start posting more of those reviews just on the various areas I'm going and show you what the DAT load board shows and what kind of loads are coming out of there. I just haven't had the stomach to do it over the last couple of weeks. It's just been a real rough couple of weeks, but those are going to start popping up again. So please let me know what you think of them, and please let me know if you have any requests. And with all that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the market update portion of the video. So let's get into it. Okay, so per usual, we're just going to go over van. I run a dry van, so that's what we're going to go over. And that's what we're going to focus on in these videos. So right away, van demand and capacity. So this map shows, it's basically a heat map that shows the load to truck ratio down here. It's updated once per month, so this should be new to you guys because they just updated it for July. It is I guess like a month behind or a week behind depending on when it updates. So this is pretty recent because it updated on July 30th and it's currently the 3rd. So it's pretty recent. And as you can see, the map is getting pretty red, and it's actually getting a little too red. I hope that they add like another section above 5.5, like say maybe go up to like 7 loads per truck or something like that, because actually at this point there's too many places that are 5.5, which is a good thing. So it's saying most of the US has 5.5 loads per truck. Now, some of this is just not correct. I mean, you got to take all the data with a grain of salt. So for instance, I know Oregon and Washington up here, there's no way that they are 5.5 loads per truck. There's zero chance. What's happening here is the brokers are posting the loads and then nobody is posting their trucks. So the loads are getting posted, but none of the trucks are getting posted. So again, all loads get posted to the DAT load board, but not every truck gets posted to the DAT load board. So for instance, I almost never post my truck, but I can. I've done it like once or twice because I don't necessarily need to. I can see what loads are available, so I don't need to post the truck necessarily. But brokers have to post the load. So this up here, what's probably happening up here is just there's nobody posting their trucks, so it just looks like there's 5.5 loads per truck. This right here is pretty much the worst region of the United States, like right around here. Then Wyoming, yeah, no chance. Denver, no chance. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, but these are not accurate. Now, as far as the South here goes, I think that's probably pretty accurate. The South, Texas, is looking pretty good. They've been pretty good all year, and I haven't had any issues running this region right here. Up here, I don't think that's totally accurate. Actually, I know it's not totally accurate, so I'm skeptical of this. Again, I think it's just nobody's posting their trucks, so it's skewing the load to truck ratio. So that's what's going on there. And yeah, now recently I have been running the Midwest, so I ran the Midwest this week, and I can tell you it's starting to come back to life, which I'm really glad. The Midwest is usually my bread and butter. That's where I like to run, specifically from like the Midwest, Texas, and kind of back up and down the Mississippi Valley. There is kind of where I like to run, and I'm probably going to hop back on board with it this week. But yeah, right now it's saying the Midwest is okay, but I'm actually my personal experience has been the Midwest is actually it might be the best market again. So usually it is generally the best market, but the past couple months, it has not been. But I've been there and it's looking pretty good. Okay, and I don't think I showed this last time. It's something that I probably should show every time, but this shows load to truck ratio over the years. So the yellow color here is this year, green is last year, and red is 2023. And very noticeable jump right here. So that's extremely fascinating. So in 2023, it was 3.64 loads per truck. In 2024, it was 4.11 loads per truck for the month of July. But as of this year, it is 6.46 loads per truck. Yeah, that's super fascinating. In the last couple of weeks, I think I have experienced a jump in rates. So I kind of believe this actually. I think it probably is jumping right now. Time will tell, but the past couple of weeks have been pretty good. I've been able to book loads for a decent rate. I'll just tell you, I booked a load from Holland to North Carolina this week for $2.44 per mile. So that's really good. It's about 700 miles, so that's awesome. And I don't know. I tend to believe that this is probably correct. My experience has been this week and the last couple of weeks. I think rates are getting a little bit better, so that's very interesting. And we're just way above where we were in 2024 and 2023, so that's really good news. All right, and this basically shows the exact same thing, just on a truck little image here. It has not changed since last week. It updates once per week, so we are still technically at 5.9 loads per truck as of, let me zoom in here, as of the 26th. So it'll update, I think, tomorrow, but I'm filming this on Sunday, so it hasn't updated yet. So 5.9 loads per truck. Been kind of fluctuating recently, but we'll see what next week brings, and it would not surprise me if this jumped up quite a bit since last week, but time will tell. Okay, and this just shows the national van rates across country. The Midwest is saying it's best. Now, it's been saying that the Midwest has had the best rates for about 2 months now, but that has not been my personal experience. I have not seen very good rates coming out of there, but this week and last week have been really good, so I think this is actually starting to be a little bit more accurate. I think the Midwest is picking up and it's coming back to life, so I'm definitely going to try to run the Midwest this week, and hopefully going forward, I'll continue to be able to run it. After that, Texas and Oklahoma and the Southeast there, or whatever you want to call it, second highest, and again, I do believe this. Texas is always quite good. And then the surrounding areas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, not so much New Mexico, but the surrounding region here is usually quite good, and you're going to have an easy time getting out of there. So I do believe that. Interestingly, the South over here, Georgia and stuff like that, has dropped recently. This was at $2.06 last week, so it dropped quite a bit, about 3 cents. And I do believe that the produce season in the South, I think it's onions that they produce primarily around May and June. That came and went, so it's starting to drop a little bit, and I do believe that you'll probably see this continue to drop maybe 3 or 4 cents over the next couple of weeks as well, so just be aware of that. And then the West Coast, you have $2.06 per mile. This is extremely skewed because of Los Angeles. So basically Los Angeles, Vegas, Phoenix, and Reno are the only markets in this entire region. Sacramento and the San Francisco Bay are okay as well. But in reality, this gets extremely skewed because of Los Angeles. Again, I already mentioned there's nothing basically in this circle right here. So just be aware of that. If you're in Los Angeles, you're good. Vegas is good. Phoenix is good. Reno is good. But everywhere else is pretty crappy. So yeah. And then per usual, the Northeast, the New England territories are trash. Don't go up there. If you go up there, make sure you're getting enough to deadhead out because you will be deadheading out. That's not going to change right there. That'll never change. Don't go there. And there's tolls, so it's even worse. And then finally, fuel price, no change whatsoever. So that's not bad. The fuel price is pretty decent right now. I mean, 381. That's pretty low for modern, recent history. I mean, it's not like 450 a gallon or something like that. So if it stays exactly the same, I would not complain whatsoever. This is a decent fuel price, and this is pretty much before discounts. So once you get a discount with your fuel card, whatever you're using, it usually goes down to like 340 a gallon, which is totally fine. So yeah, no change in the fuel price, and hopefully it stays there. So that'll do it for this week's market analysis. Let me know what you think of those. Let me know if there's any other information you want me to put in those. Those are kind of a work in progress. I've only been doing them for about a month, so please give me feedback on those. But last episode, we left off in Minden, Nevada. So last week, we pretty much had a disaster load where I blew my radiator. I had to have the truck towed, placed the radiator. My load got repowered. I then ran to where it was going, which was Minden, Nevada, and actually ended up beating the guy there and didn't need to repower my load, but that was a whole nother disaster. If you watched the previous videos, you know about that. But we dropped that load in Minden, Nevada, and then we were looking for another load, and I was trying to basically get back east at this point, hopefully to the Midwest or the South or Texas or anything like that. So I was looking around trying to find something, and I ended up calling a broker, and he had a load available in Minden, Nevada. And then after chatting with him, it turns out it was in the exact place I was dropping the load. So I ended up booking this load right here. So this one is Minden, Nevada to Spindale, North Carolina. So I was at the Starbucks facility in Minden, Nevada, which is a big old Starbucks distribution center. I've delivered there quite a few times for all the companies I've worked for. So this is just another time I've delivered there. They do a lot of business there. So I was dropping a load there. I was in the receiver dock. I called up this number, kind of thinking it was the same place that I was going to book this load. He's like, yeah, it's going from, I called up the broker. He's like, yeah, it's from Minden, Nevada to Spindale, North Carolina. And I'm like, I just sort of immediately asked, it wouldn't happen to be at the Starbucks, would it? He's like, yeah, man. I'm like, okay, well, I'm there, so it was a super easy pickup. I literally just pulled out of the dock, went to another dock on the other side where the loading facility was, checked in. So there was literally about 85 feet of deadhead on this one. So obviously I'm going to grab it, and it paid, I mean, $1.74 for a 2,500 mile load. That's what these rates are paying recently. I have not been successful trying to negotiate above that. Spindale, North Carolina. North Carolina, the South is an okay market. Gets me east, and that's what I ended up booking. So we're taking a long load. I think this is the longest load so far as since getting my own authority. So that's interesting. But no deadhead, $4,400. Let's go to North Carolina. All right, so we dropped that load in Spindale, North Carolina, and then I was looking for another load, probably to the Midwest, because it looks like the Midwest is getting better. So I was looking to go either to the Midwest or potentially Texas, either one. I didn't want to do anything local or short loads like that. So I'm trying to get about $1,000 of revenue per day. So that's what I was shooting for. So it was a Wednesday when I dropped the Spindale load. So I knew I could grab a load Wednesday and then get to either Texas or the Midwest and then grab something from the Midwest back down to either the South or Texas or whatever, about another 1,000-mile load and get me through the weekend. So I was looking around trying to find a load to the Midwest or maybe Texas, and I ended up finding this load right here. So this one's going from Fletcher, North Carolina to Holland, Michigan. So that's kind of by Grand Rapids. Paid okay, $700, $1.93 a mile. Gets me to a much better market. So again, the Midwest at this point is I think the best market. It's looking pretty good. So to go up there for $1.93, I was like, all right, yeah, let's give it a shot, see how it's doing. And not too much deadhead. And I've been focusing on getting more first come, first serve loads because I noticed that the first come first served loads just unload you really fast, generally speaking, whereas the appointment loads tend to take a while and they can kind of ruin your day. So this one was a first come first serve on both ends. So that worked out really well. So I was able to get it up there by Friday, and I could drop it at any time, and they should be pretty fast unloading. And that's what I ended up doing. So we ended up grabbing this one, first come first serve on the pickup, first come first serve on the drop, and now we're headed to Holland, Michigan. Let's go. Okay, so we ended up dropping that one in Holland, Michigan, and just as I suspected, they unloaded me in about 5 minutes. So that was pretty awesome. So I dropped it in Holland, Michigan, and then it was a Friday morning when I dropped it. So I dropped it at like 8 or 9 a.m. or something like that. And then I was looking to go to either Texas or the South and just try to do what kind of like a triangle or maybe just back and forth, something like that, from the Midwest to either Texas or the South and then back up, something along those lines. So I was looking around and I ended up finding another load going to Roseboro, North Carolina, and this one paid 2,000. So it was about 800 miles, so it equated to about 240 per mile. So yeah, the Midwest is looking pretty good. If you can book loads like that, I think I'll be doing just fine, and hopefully that continues. But uh, that load is actually not going to make the paycheck. So with all that said, we're going to go ahead and get into the spreadsheet right now. Okay, so as discussed, we're going to go ahead and cover week 22. So let's do it. For week 22, we did 2 loads. In those 2 loads, we got 3,285 miles. Paid a total of $5,750 at $1.75 per mile. Fuel expense, we fueled up 3 times, and we had our IFTA payment for a total of $1,378 at 42 cents per mile. Maintenance expense, we did replace 2 tires on our truck for $1,091 at 33 cents per mile. Other expenses, tolls $170, scales $29, DMV permits $350 for a total of $550 at 17 cents per mile. Fixed costs, email $8, DAT $149, truck stop $42 for a total of $199 at 6 cents per mile. Totals for week 22, total expenses were $3,219 at 98 cents per mile. Total revenue was $5,750 at $1.75 per mile. That brought our net settlement to $2,530 at 77 cents per mile. All right, caveats for week 22, quite a few of them. Again, got out of Minden, Nevada, pretty long load, $1.74 per mile, $4,400. So it was about a 4-day load, 5-day load, something like that. So still, even though it didn't pay, the rate per mile wasn't good. It did pay about $1,000 of revenue per day, and that's basically what I'm trying to shoot for. About $1,000 of revenue per day, plus a reset. So basically $6,000 of revenue per week would be a pretty good target goal. And with this load and this load, I almost hit it. So not great on the cents per mile, but the revenue was okay. This was a proper 1 week, by the way. So I dropped the load on Friday. I picked up a load in Minden on Friday, ran it to Spindale on Wednesday, picked up the Fletcher, North Carolina load that same day, and dropped the Holland, Michigan load Friday morning. So this is like a perfect 1 week here. 5K revenue, there's that. I am going to start avoiding these longer loads now. With the Midwest coming back to life, this is usually where I run, and that's what I'm going to focus on, just basically running from the Midwest to the South and then back up, or Midwest to Texas and back up, or maybe do a triangle like Midwest to Texas to the South and then back up, something along those lines. That has traditionally worked pretty well for me. However, with the Midwest dying over the last couple of months, I've been kind of avoiding it, but it looks like things are really going to come back to life. And I just booked a load after this Holland, Michigan one going to North Carolina, and it paid $240 per mile. It was actually $2,000 for a very similar load to this. So that's really good sign. Hopefully I can keep doing that. But yeah, that's what's going on there. All right, and then fuel expenses, fueled up 3 times, and then I had my IFTA bill come. So I wasn't fueling up properly in California, and I never will, because California, super expensive. But yeah, because of that, yeah, I basically didn't pay my IFTA bill properly. I was filling up in Nevada or Arizona, running all the way into California, then running all the way out. Pretty much did that for the last 3 months, so I got whacked with a $300 IFTA bill. But I have no regrets. All right, and then maintenance tires. There were two tires on the trailer that were looking pretty rough. One of them was the final retread tire from the trailer. So when I bought it, there were a handful of retreaded tires. I kept them on there. Two of them blew. I replaced one, and I think this is this is the last retreaded tire. So I went ahead and I swapped it. So I had two drive tires that were okay, but I decided just to replace them preemptively. So I just took them off. They were on one single axle, so I took those off and I put them on the back, and then I replaced the retreaded tire. And then I also had another tire replaced. It was a replacement tire that I actually got in Salt Lake after I picked up a nail. So I had that one replaced as well. And then I had two virgin tires put on my drives. So I got two more virgin tires on my drives, but now all of the retreads are off of my trailer. So we should be looking a little bit better there. But it did cost me $1,000, 33 cents per mile. And at this point, I am just kind of resigning myself to a 30-cent per mile maintenance expense. So it is what it is. All right, and then these other expenses, tolls. Don't know what that's for. I think some of this could be just, I'm calling it tolls, but also it's just the pre-pass itself. So I have a pre-pass elite, and I think it does charge. I should know how much exactly it charges per month, but it takes care of not only my tolls but also my bypass for the way stations. So it takes care of both. And this is quite possibly just the pre-pass cost per month. I should know it, but I kind of forget, to be honest. But I think there's some tolls and some pre-pass fixed costs in there as well. So that's what that is. And then scales, $30, nothing special. And then the permits here, this is actually just to renew my corporation. So I have a corporation based in a state. I'm not going to tell you which one. And I just had to renew it every year. You have to renew your corporation every year with the state secretary, no matter what state you're in. And that's actually what this is right here. I just had to renew my business license effectively. So not actually trucking related. It's just I have a trucking business. It is a corporation, so I have to renew my corporation every year in the state. So that's what that is. All right, and then fixed costs, nothing special. I mean, my email. So I have a professional email, cost me $8, and then the DAT and the truck stop load board subscriptions. That was about $200. And that's it. Nothing special there. Just 6 cents per mile. All right, yeah, and then after that, I mean, the overalls aren't terrible. It was a $2,500 week, so it's not too bad. Cents per mile, not great, but that's because I took the 2,500 mile load. Gonna stop doing those. I'm gonna try to focus more on the 600-700 mile loads, something like that. But yeah, that's what happened there. All in all, not too bad. There is $1,000 of tires in here, so I got two brand new tires, so it's not too bad. But yeah, that's what we're looking at right there. And I mean, considering how the last basically month has went, getting a $2,500 week it makes me pretty happy. So I mean, if you minus the tires in there, it goes up to 3,500. But I needed a bit of a morale boost after the last couple of weeks, and that's good enough. So yeah, there's week 22. All right, now let's go ahead and go over the overalls. So totals since starting my own authority, driven a total of 53,711 miles. Total expenses have been $78,000 at $1.46 per mile, and that is my cost per mile. Total revenue has been $95,000 at $1.78 per mile. That brings a total profit loss to $17,000 at 32 cents per mile, and all of these loads are dry van. Okay, yeah, so that's where we're at since starting the program. Not good at all. And you're probably wondering, if you're new to the channel, why is this so abysmal right here? Well, it's abysmal because if you scroll all the way to the top, so I'm just scrolling all the way to the top of the spreadsheet, you will see my startup costs. So the startup costs ended up costing me $18,000. I'm not going to go over it in this video. You can watch my previous video on that. But in the end, it cost me 18 grand to get my authority active. So for theoretical purposes, just going to delete that. And then we're going to scroll back down just to give you a better idea of what a typical week would look like. And now we're going to go over my numbers without startup costs. So let's do it. All right, totals without startup costs. Total expenses have been $60,000 at $1.12 per mile, and that is my cost per mile without startup costs. Total revenue has been $95,000 at $1.78 per mile, and that brings our total profit loss to $35,000 at 66 cents per mile without startup costs. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and go over averages and other information without the startup costs. So let's do it. Average weekly paycheck without startup costs is $1,500. Average weekly miles is 2,300 miles. Total fuel costs have been $22,000 at 42 cents per mile. We are paying an average of $3.32 per gallon. Our total maintenance cost has been $15,000 at 29 cents per mile. If we kept this up for a 52-week period, we'd make $81,000 and drive 124,000 miles. Total revenue has been $95,000 at $4,000 per week. Deadhead has been 4,400 miles at 8% of total mileage. Been employed 157 days or 22 weeks. Taken 17 days off, 140 days on duty. Taken 81 total loads. Average load length is 663 miles. And if we had a $500 per week truck payment, we would make $24,000 at 45 cents per mile. Okay, yeah, guys. So looking at these numbers, these are rough. These are abysmal. So 66 cents per mile with a paid off truck is terrible. That's awful. So 66 cents per mile is company driver pay, but my truck is paid off, so I'm kind of grinding my truck down right now. So yeah, if you minus, I don't know, maybe 15 cents per mile, 20 cents per mile for the truck, truck replacement, you're looking at 50 cents per mile, give or take, which is absolutely abysmal. It's just absolutely, there's no sugarcoating it. This looks like, that's what it looks like. I mean, this is really bad. Nothing more to say. This is not going too well, and things need to turn around, and they need to turn around in a really big way over the next 5 months in order for this to be worth it. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. 66 cents per mile. Looking at some of the other numbers, $1,500 per week. And this is without the startup cost, right? If you put the startup cost back in there, I mean, it's just like, it's a one-way ticket to bankruptcy at this rate. Not quite, right? But it's looking nasty. This is nasty, okay? The main issue I've had is just the maintenance cost. So 30 cents per mile. I'm telling myself that's what it's going to cost me, and it does look like that might be pretty accurate. Okay. So you got 30 cents per mile, and there have just been a number of maintenance issues that have not only cost me 15 grand, but also just time, just probably a week or two of just sitting in a maintenance bay, sitting at a shop, getting something fixed, getting loads repowered that cost me $1,000 and just giant headaches and stuff like that. So the maintenance cost is killing me. The rate per mile is trash. So I got through basically March, April, and May, pretty slow months. June looked a little better. July was pretty good. It was pretty decent, apart from the absolute disaster when I blew my radiator, but that's a different story. The rates seem to be getting better. We'll see how it goes. But as of this moment, yeah, this needs to turn around. Like, we got to rally in the next 5 months. I'm telling you, this is bad. Like, I'm not bragging about these numbers, guys. I always said, I'm not bragging about this. I'm just showing you my numbers so you can make a more educated decision on the path forward for you. And right now, this is just trash. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this. I got through the worst months of the year. I've had multiple maintenance issues. Hopefully things are going to pick back up. But as of this moment, if things do not turn around in a big way in the next 5 months, I am not going to continue running my own authority next year. So yeah, it'd be 66 cents per mile. You minus the truck, just beating the crap out of my truck, it goes down to about 50 cents per mile, right? I mean, well, if you look at down here, if I had a $500 truck payment, it'd be 45 cents per mile. And this is without the startup cost, right? So it's like, okay, that is abysmal, right? I mean, this is less than company driver pay right now. And it's less than company driver pay. Now, some of this is probably, this $1.78, I should start hauling some of the shorter loads. So the best way to run would probably be, like I've been saying, from the Midwest to Texas and then Texas to the South and maybe doing a triangle like that. But in the last couple of months, the Midwest just died. I mean, it went completely dead. It's coming back to life, and it seems like it's coming back with a vengeance. So over the last couple of weeks, it's been doing really well. So I'm looking to start running again. So hopefully I can get this rate per mile up. Hopefully the revenue per day increases, and hopefully things turn around with summer and then Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything coming. But I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to turn around to the point where I would want to continue. Like, these rates, I need to, I don't know, this needs to be like, it's, I don't even know. This is just awful. This is awful. I, this is this is so bad. I mean, what was the NFL Super Bowl a couple years back? I don't watch football, but I know like what's the team? Wasn't it the the New England Patriots that came back from like a 23-point deficit in like the fourth quarter or something like that? I need to do one of those. Okay, it needs to be like one of those comebacks. I mean, I'm talking like the Germans are on the gates of Moscow in 1941, and Stalin just gives them the old not a step back and throws them all the way back to Berlin. Okay, that's the kind of comeback I need right now because it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good at all. Okay, we need to throw the the bad Germans all the way back to Berlin right now. Okay, it's a long way to Berlin, okay? And it ain't looking good. Okay, so we're on the back foot right now, and I don't see a Stalingrad and just encircling the Fifth Army. I have a degree in history. That's how I know all this. But okay, we're at Stalingrad right now. We're at Moscow right now, and I need to throw the Germans all the way back to Berlin. Okay, and allies haven't landed yet. Okay, this is bad right now. Things are looking pretty rough right now. But I don't know. I guess I'm out of analogies. This needs to turn around, and it needs to turn around in a massive, massive way, or I will not be continuing with my authority into next year. And if you're watching this, I would stay away. You should stay away for a little while until things get better. I don't know what else to say. 66 cents per mile with a paid off truck without startup costs. Ouch. All right, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed my analogies. Maybe they were good, maybe they're bad, maybe they'll get things demonetized. I have no idea. But anyways, if you're interested in this spreadsheet or any of the other spreadsheets I've done in the past, you can go ahead, you just open them up, hit the file button, download them, and then you're free to use them however you please. But I guess I'll just go ahead and I'll let you guys know what happens next week, and yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one.